What's up everyone, it's Scott the TroutHammer here, and I got another top 5 video for you guys. Now this is one that I said I was going to recreate. It was a video that I created in the first year of the channel that didn't get a whole lot of views. I think I should have waited until my channel was the size it is now to talk about the subject, but it's going to be the top 5 most important fishing tools you need to take with you on the water. Now we're not going to talk about things like the rod, reel, line, lures. That's obvious stuff. These are things that you probably don't realize you actually need until you're on the water and wish you had them. They're just generally good tools to keep with you at all times while you're fishing. And this goes for either bank fishing, boat fishing, saltwater fishing, anything. These are 5 tools that I always take with me everywhere I go. If you guys want to see my other top 5 videos, I got a whole playlist of these videos. I'll put the link up here in this corner. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button down there, notify bell next to it, so you're going to be the first to see all the great content that's going to come from this channel. And when you subscribe, if your account setting is on public and I can read your name, I'll give you a shout out in the video I record over the weekend.
Yep, you saw me. There you go, guys. That's a fish. There we go, guys. That's unreal! Oh, this is such an awesome looking fish. Oh, yeah! Alright, guys, check that out.
Now, what do I mean in this video when I say fishing tools? These are things that are tools that aren't necessarily created for fishing, but they are extremely helpful for fishing. The frequency of use, the ease of use, and the importance of use you're going to find is actually pretty surprising. Now these are going to be tools, like I said, that work in any fishing situation. They work in pond fishing, lake fishing, fishing from the bank, fishing from the boat, fishing from the beach, fishing from the jetty, and these are all things that are really lightweight. They're all so small and compact that all 5 of these fishing tools could fit in one pocket. A lot of places I go fishing where I have to travel a pretty good distance, like a half mile or a mile just to get to the fishing spot, so I don't want to weigh myself down and tire myself out on the way. So that's why all these things are like really small, really nice and compact, like I said. Now me, I'm all about preparedness. I don't like any situation in life where I don't have the correct tools I need for the job, so let's get right into the list. My number 5 most important fishing tool you need to take with you to the water is a reliable set of pliers. Now the ones I use are the Mad Bite pliers, and these ones come with a pouch that fits on your belt. It's got a lanyard, so even if it's, out of the pouch, it doesn't fall away from you, I don't lose it. And the reason I went with these is because they're resistant to corrosion. They've got cutters on the side. These are fishing pliers that are made for fishing, but you really just need a reliable set of pliers. So if you can't get some actual fishing pliers, ones I recommend are ones with really good cutters, and if possible, cutters that can be replaced, because these things, after a couple years of cutting braid and sometimes cutting other things that you'll find you have to cut while fishing, they will lose their sharpness and their effectiveness to cut. So if you can get ones that have replaceable blades, that's even better. Also, like I said, ones that are resistant to corrosion. These things are going to get wet, period, but also if they get wet with salt water, it's going to damage the metal a lot faster because it's going to corrode it. So if you can get anything that's saltwater resistant, that's even better. Also, pliers that have a really long, narrow needle nose, so when you have to get the hook out of a fish's mouth, like a trout, even a bluegill, and yes, I can effectively get hooks out of bluegills' mouths with these pliers, you're not going to hurt the fish as much. You're going to be able to safely and effectively get the hook out of the fish, or even if you have to, cut the hook off in the fish and leave it. The hook actually will break down inside the fish's stomach. I've had to do that myself pretty recently. But yeah, some ones that have a long, almost like forceps style reach. You don't want to use big bulky pliers if you're going to take these things fishing. You're going to find times where you're going to need to tweak something with your setup. Either you're going to have to bend a hook back in place, obviously, like I already explained, pull a hook out of a fish, get better reach to get a hook out of a fish, especially if you're using a treble hook, or fix something on your reel, on your rod, on the flies. So these are absolutely handy to have. My number 4 most important fishing tool you need to take with you to the water, and this is going to be a really surprising one, is some hand sanitizer. Now specifically, some alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Reasons for this, not just for keeping your hands clean, so say you're handling a fish and you're going to do something where you're not going to have access to actually wash your hands afterwards. You want to wash your hands off in the water and then use some hand sanitizer. You should be good then. But also with the alcohol-based hand sanitizer, it's a universal solvent. So if you're using fishing scent, like I use on almost all my lures, well at least all my trout fishing, salmon fishing, pan fishing, most of my lures, not so much on bass lures, but yeah, most of my lures, I use some sort of scent, either gel or an oil. This stuff breaks down the scent, breaks down the oil. It's a lot easier to clean your lures. Now you do want to get a hand sanitizer that doesn't have any scents or perfumes in it, because that scent actually can transfer over to the lure, especially soft plastics. So that can actually mess with the a fish's willingness to commit to getting a lure if it's got that perfume, that scent on it. It's something completely foreign to him, and the alcohol-based hand sanitizers, that alcohol scent actually diffuses really quickly, so it really doesn't affect the lure, doesn't affect the scent of the lure or bass's or any fish's willingness to commit to the lure. You know, if you guys have watched my videos before, you know that I use a lot of baits that have a really strong scent to it, either like the cured eggs that I use for salmon fishing and that stuff, it just gets all over the place and it does not come off. Your fingers will be pink for days, and this stuff helps get that off real quickly. You know, that can be solved by using gloves, and I do take some gloves with me when I go fishing. But say you're switching between baits, saying you're using a different scent bait or a different class bait. If you're going to switch between baits, you don't want scent to transfer over, you don't want to mix the flavors, so to say, that's where this stuff, again, is going to come in handy. My number 3 most important tool that you need to take to the water with you, should be a pretty obvious one, is a good set of polarized sunglasses. Now for years, I downplayed the importance of these. I just used regular sunglasses when I went fishing just to keep the sun out of my eyes. Polarized sunglasses make a world of difference. How much you can see is going on in the water, and a lot of times that can be the real big difference maker between you catching a fish or not catching a fish. So you probably heard different people talk about the different colors of lenses for polarized sunglasses. In a nutshell, for like really clear water, really already clean water, so like ocean fishing or like river fishing, especially during the summer, those lighter and darker blue mirrored sunglasses are going to be your best bet. If you're going to be fishing really dirty stained water, that's when you want to go more for the auburn or copper color lenses. These ones are just gray lenses that I use. They're just all around general everyday good use, and I use these in dirty water, clean water, and do just fine. But some of the biggest reasons why the polarized sunglasses are important is, like I said, if you're sight fishing, if you can see fish and you want to recognize their activity, you want to recognize what they're already keyed into, you need these to be able to see that. You're not going to be able to see that just with glare of the sun on the surface of the water, or if it's really turbid, like I said, those auburn color sunglasses, that's what you're going to want. But when you're fishing in shallow water or when you're fishing in clear water, if you want to avoid snags, if you want to avoid rocks, timber, twigs, anything that's going to hook up your lure and you're going to lose a lure, this is what's going to save that. Number 1 reason is fishing, obviously, is a sight-based sport. We're using our eyes to see what needs to be done. We're using our eyes to recognize where the fish are, what conditions are happening. You know, we can feel the wind and things like that, but like we can see where the shade is. We can see where structure is. You're going to have a lot of eye strain if you spend a whole day fishing, and polarized sunglasses actually help reduce eye strain because the glare of the sun and glare of reflection of light on the water actually does a lot more damage to your eyes than you think. Helps you fish longer, helps you see better, helps keep your eyes healthy. Definitely an important tool to take with you. My number 2 most important tool to take with you to the water. Now, a lot of people put this as their number 1. For me, this is my number 2 because my number 1 I personally think is a lot more important, but my number 2 is a good file. Like I said, a lot of people put this as their number 1. I'm going to explain why, but a reason why a lot of people don't even think to bring this with them is they don't think they need to keep their hook sharp. It really doesn't matter if you're fishing the right spot, right time of day, using the right lures. It doesn't matter how good a fisherman you are. You can't catch fish if your hooks aren't sharp. Now, I personally stick to hook brands that I've trusted for years. I know I don't have to sharpen as often. Some I don't have to sharpen at all. Those being the Trocar hooks and also Mustad owner hooks. I usually stick to those, like the Cutting Point owner hooks. But there's a lot of times you get a lure that has treble hooks that you didn't put on. And the hooks are great hooks, but you don't want to trade them out because you got your hooks on something else, or you just don't have the supplies with you. This is going to make an absolute universe of difference in whether you catch a fish or not. Just take a couple seconds, you know, file down toward the point of the hook, get your hook sharpened. If you get it, nothing else, it'll give you that security of mind that you've got the right tools in the moment to effectively land fish, but helps to make sure. It's also generally a good practice to about, maybe twice a year, just go through your tackle box and just give all of your hooks just a quick sharpen just to help align the microscopic pieces of metal that help make the point, just to align them to make it sharper and more effective for you. But yeah, bottom line, you're not catching fish if your hooks aren't sharp, so this is my number 2 most important tool to take with you on the water. My number 1 most important tool to take with you to the water, notice my hands are empty. You probably, were wondering because of the thumbnail what my number 1 most important tool was, because there's only 4 things in the thumbnail, is your mindset. Positive mindset, to me, is the most important tool in your tackle box. it doesn't matter what you bring with you. It doesn't matter if you bring the right lures. It doesn't matter if you bring the right rigs already set up. And again, it doesn't matter if you fish the right time of day, year, you fish the right water conditions at all. If you're not going in with the mindset of you're going to conquer the day, you're going to catch your fish, you're going to have a great day fishing, you're wasting your time. Ask any seasoned angler. Even if they're catching fish, if something happens that ruins their mindset while they're out fishing, they notice their success absolutely nosedive. It doesn't matter if they're catching, good-sized bass, or they're catching numbers of bass. If something happens where they say lose a fish and that tanks their mindset, they almost check out. They're almost done. That's something you should never allow yourself to do. Keep that positive mindset up. Like I said in my latest Real Talk episode where I talked about what it means to be a better fisherman, that positive mindset, again, I'm going to reiterate it here, is the most important tool in your tackle box. And that's why I harp so much on other fishermen that seem to have a goal of bringing down other fishermen's mindsets. This is from personal experience. This is from talking with other anglers for a long time. Nothing will take you out of the game faster than a negative thought pattern. It doesn't matter how good the day is. It doesn't matter how bad the day is. Things can absolutely turn on a dime based on if your mindset is good or not. Now, it might mean something different for you than it does for me, but for me, that positive mindset comes in two definitions. Now, one, it is really difficult for someone to tell me something is impossible if I've already seen it done. If I know a style of fishing works catching fish, I'm going to go into it with the mindset that I'm going to work that style and I'm going to catch fish. And number two, like I've said throughout this video, comes from preparedness, coming from the idea that I've studied a location, I know what to do, I've studied a fish's patterns, I know how to get that fish to react or how to get that fish to commit to a bite, but also I spent the time to prepare, having the right tools with me, like this video has talked about, those 5 most important tools, but also I came with the right lure selected, I came with the right gear selected, already rigged up, sharp hooks like I already talked about. But that preparedness reminds me that I've done everything I can and I've already set myself up for success. Now I just need to follow through with that success, and that positive mindset continues on that trend. Even if you don't catch fish, you look back and you learn something from the fishing trip. You learn what you could have done differently, slight adjustments you could have made, and you apply that to future trips. It keeps that train rolling of positive thought pattern. I can't stress the importance of this enough. I can't reiterate it enough. It's why I always tell people first and always the most important tool to bring with you to the water is a positive mindset. But let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. Let me know your top 5 most important fishing tools to bring to the water with you. If it's anything that I listed in this video or anything that you think I missed, keep the conversation going in the comments. And again, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down there, notify bell next to it, so you're going to be the first to see all the great content that's going to come from this channel. And when you subscribe to the channel, if your account setting is on public and I can read your name, I'll give you a shout out in the video I record over the weekend. And if you guys want other ways to support the channel, down below I've got links to Facebook, to Instagram, to Patreon, all those goodies. Patreon completely up to you guys. I got my reward tier set really low because my means are really small for this channel. Even $1 goes a long way, and it's an amount that you probably won't even notice. Leave your bank account. You'll get a shout out for signing up on Patreon, and your name will be added to the credit scroll that will play at the end of every video. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, tips up, tight lines, and have fun fishing.